welcome everyone to yet another episode of this podcast, Afrin and Personal. Here is your host Ananya, all set to become Afrin and Personal with everyone listening. Hi, you guys. I hope you all are having a great Saturday. Or if you're not having a great Saturday, I hope you all are having a good Saturday. If not good, I hope just you guys are having a fine Saturday. You know, it's funny that my standards have dropped significantly of what I used to hope from my day. I used to feel, when my day used to start, I used to be like, I am going to have a great day. But now I'm like, I'll have a fine day. Literally, if I have not panicked, if I have not cried, if I am not overworked, if I am not stressed out about anything, if I am not having existential crisis, I'll take that win. And that's my standard from my day these days. If you have higher standards, congratulations, very well done, you're winning in life. So yeah, whatever your standards is, I hope your day is meeting that. And even if you have cried today, even if your day is going really, really shitty, I am sure tomorrow is going to be better. Or if not, I'm sure day after tomorrow is going to be better. It's all about the hope. Anyways, so it's a Saturday and I'm still talking about corporate culture. You would like to ask me why? Wish I had the answer. I have no answer. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's just that I had been thinking about this episode for quite some time, and I have just finished about 1.5 2 years in this life, and I thought, listen, I'll sit here and I'll talk to all of you about the things that I learned, because there are things that on a paper or in principle maybe that I knew when I started or even when I was in college, but they really hit me like a truck, and I came to these realizations properly after I started working. And I'm not sure if you are like a prodigy or something, you would know these things even when you are a law student or an intern. I clearly didn't, or I didn't really understand properly the gravity of these things till I started working and till I entered the corporate culture. So yes, if you think that I have less experience and you want to log off, or you feel like that listening to this episode is an insult to maybe 5-6 years or 10 years or 20 years of your own work experience, I completely understand that. I will not take this to my heart. But if you are someone who is a law student or any kind of student who wants to go to corporate culture, I think these 5 things are not restricted to legal field. Or if you are an intern, or if you are going to start your first job, or if you are at the same level as me, or whatnot. If you're just curious to know what I have to say, then let's just get started and stay tuned. And if you agree or disagree with anything said in this episode, you can talk to me, you can start a conversation, you can write to me on my Instagram. My Instagram is ANANYA2893, Ananya2893. And of course, if you like this podcast, you can go subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. It's under my name, Ananya Mishra. I'm putting few episodes of this podcast, and let's see what happens to that channel. But I'm really, really thrilled for that channel. So anyways, I before I start being a lawyer, like being a bona fide lawyer, I really want to start with a disclaimer. Yes, I'm talking about corporate culture, and yes, I'm doing that on a goddamn Saturday, but I do not support, or I do not want to propagate hustle culture. I'm not saying hustle till you make it. Keep grinding, keep being in that hustle phase of your life till your bank balance amount starts looking like your phone number. Absolutely not. I am not a supporter of working on the weekends, working late nights, having no life outside work. That's not my life. That's not what I am about. So no, I am not going to put that kind of pressure on you. But yes, I also understand that there is a difference between hustle and hard work. You cannot hustle, but you can still work really very hard, and you can still be extremely sincere and serious about the job at hand. And there are 5 things that will really, really make you a hard worker or a better worker, and will make sure that your superiors and your team members treat you like an asset to the team, treat you like an asset to the organization. So yes, let's just get started. Number one is the presentation of your document goddamn matters. Presentation of your entire work matters, in fact. Yes, I'm saying all of that Notwithstanding that, I completely agree that your work product is the most primarily important thing. What you submit, your research, your drafting skills, I'm talking as a lawyer, all of that, of course, is primarily important. But what we don't realize is that after we have worked on a document for like 12 hours, we want to just really submit it and get done with it. But if we take just 5 minutes to correct the formatting, we take 5 minutes to just dwell on, is the font size correct? Is the font type correct? How are we naming the document? Have we dated the document? How are we attaching those documents? If there are too many Word documents, are we putting that in a zip folder and attaching it? Are all the email IDs correct? Who all do we have to put in CC? How are we signing off? What is the language of our email? What is the font size and type of our email? These things might sound really trivial to you. I mean, after 5 years of law school or whatever graduation that you have done, you will feel like this is what I have to concentrate on. I worked on that document for 2 days. I completely get it. I completely get that this is a little bit frustrating part of it. But just compare yourself to a contestant in MasterChef, right? They also have to work really hard on the presentation of the food, even though they have cooked like maybe really amazing food that you and I can't even think of. But still, they have to make those insane kind of structures that we see in MasterChef. And even MasterChef judges say it's taste, presentation, and one thing that I have forgotten, but presentation is one of it. Similarly, as a lawyer or anyone in the corporate structure, you have to make sure that your work looks good, your email looks good, it's sent on an appropriate time. What happens is people form impressions even without recognizing that they are forming impressions. Sometimes what I have seen is when people are doing any internal research or when they are sending it to, maybe a team member or a contemporary of them, they forget these things because they're like, this is just an internal thing. It doesn't have to go out. It's not a client thing. But you can still take 5 minutes on every document and on every mail and be completely sure of that. If you have the energy to work for 8 hours on a document, 12 hours, whatever, you still can take 5 minutes so that your 12 hours of hard work is not discredited. People will form first impression after seeing your email and your document and then will read what's in it. So make sure that you spend those 5 minutes on the presentation. Number 2. Okay, you have to understand that every person that you're going to work with is not going to be your friend. I am not saying that you will not make friends in your workplace. You will. Eventually you will. And I have been friends with almost everyone that I have worked with, and I have shared a great working relationship with almost everyone I've worked with. But please understand that it's almost. Even the people that I have not been friends with, I have had a good cordial relationship with, and that's completely fine. The main thing that you have to make sure in your etiquette or in the way you're treating other people in your team, you have to understand that they are human beings and they deserve some kind of respect, and you ask someone that you know those people in an official and formal capacity. So you have to be very aware of that. So respect them and be cordial to them, and just have a very good working relationship with them. And if eventually you feel like this is a person that I can be friends with them. That's completely okay. But don't go in with an expectation that everyone will be your friend. Even when people are super nice to you, because as I said, it's expected in the corporate culture that people will be nice to you. It's expected and it's a part of corporate etiquette that people have to be cordial with each other. So just because they're nice to you doesn't mean that they want to be your friends or they want to be a part of your gossip and they want to know you beyond work. So unless you're sure, don't try and have always feel like if somebody is not friendly to you or it's bad, or you have to approach every single person in your team to be your friend. If anyone doesn't want to be a friend, that's completely okay. You don't have to take it to your heart, and you don't have to stop being cordial to them just because you guys can't be friends. And even if you're a student, you would realize that not every friend you'll have a good working relationship with, and not everyone that you have a good working relationship with has to be your friend. When I started, I had colleagues that I was not friends with, but then we eventually became really good friends. How we became good friends? Because at the start we had a really good working relationship with, and nobody forced friendship. Because you guys, when you're working together, or when, especially if you are at the same level, you understand each other a lot, because you're going to be in touch with each other for about 8 to 10 hours. So friendships are bound to happen, until unless you guys are polar opposite and it just can't happen. But first thing is to be cordial and try and establish a good working relationship, because that's why you are there. But also, on the other extreme of the spectrum, even if you are an introvert, even if you feel like you're too apprehensive of forming friendships at work, do not try to shove people off. Again, as I said, try and at least be cordial. You do not have to go on either of the extremes and still be fine. You don't have to shove people off, you don't have to be rude with them. As soon as your meeting ends, or as soon as your work conversation ends, you do not have to look for an escape. That is okay. If someone wants to know you personally, please encourage that. If you're not comfortable or anything, and if it's something that's feeling like a harassment, or if you're absolutely uncomfortable, that's a completely different thing. But just don't think that I'm not going to be friends with everyone and I'm going to stay aloof and I'm going to do my work and just get the hell out of here. That kind of attitude is very off-putting. And even if someone wants to be friends with you, or even if someone wants to be cordial with you, they are going to feel really uncomfortable around you if you have that kind of off-putting attitude. It's really not nice. And honestly, people are overworked, people are stressed, people are doing their job, they're trying to earn money. They really don't give a lot of damn about breaking ice with everyone. They'll try once, they'll try twice, and then they'll be like, okay, maybe that's your nature and I'm not going to work on breaking the ice. You can be off-putting, just do the work. And then when you need a favor, or when you need your work to be a little bit flexible, even when they are not friends, but if you are cordial, it will happen. But if you're off-putting, if you have that kind of attitude and air around you, you cannot then expect favors. So please pick your battles and don't really go for either the extremes. Till you are in the middle, it's still fine. Third, be on time. Even though it's very simple, and since we were 5 years old, everyone told us to be punctual, everyone told us to be on time. It becomes exceedingly important when you enter a corporate culture, especially right now when we all are working remotely almost. Very important to be on time, very important to respect deadlines, very important to tell anyone if you are going to be late, if you want a flexibility in deadlines, in timelines. Very important to tell all of these things way in advance, because you don't want to waste anybody else's time. Yes, your time is important, but other people's time is also important, because you guys are a team and you're working together. And even when it's your client, you would not want to waste your client's time. I am not saying that if you have been given an unbelievable or a deadline that you just can't do with, you still have to do it, and you have to skip on lunches, skip on sleep, and skip on whatnot and still do it. I am not saying that if you are asking for a flexibility in the deadline, you are not a punctual person and you don't respect other people's time. No. If you want a flexibility, you have to communicate it. If you are going to be unavailable due to personal reasons, you have got to communicate it, because that's your goddamn duty. You owe it to other people. You owe it to your team members. You owe it to your superiors. You owe it to your clients. People who respect other people's time, and people who think that deadlines and timelines are not an option, these people are always respected, because these people give out an impression that they have a great work ethic. And of course, I think 50% of your work ethic is just respecting time. Be on time, respect other people's time, and you will see how respect towards you increases many folds. Number 4, be articulate. Yes. Now, I am not saying that if you don't have a great command in language, and if you don't keep on talking, and if you don't give these amazing presentations, and if you don't hog time on Zoom call, you are not a good worker. All of these things are actually very off-putting. No, I'm not saying that. I am saying that even when you speak for 5 minutes over a call, even if you speak for 2 minutes over a client call, even if you answer 2 questions, even if it's an internal call, even if it's a one-on-one conversation, you have to learn how to articulate your thoughts. You have to learn how to structure your sentences in a way where whatever you are thinking, you can convey it to the other person in a well-structured, well-defined manner. Very important. Because what happens is that there are people, and I have learned it from other seniors in my team, they would speak for 2 minutes in the Zoom call. They will give everyone, they will not cut anyone. They will not speak in the between of anyone. They will give everyone time and attention, and attentively listen to when other person is speaking. And when it's their time, they will speak for 2 minutes, but command all the respect. Because those 2 minutes have been very powerful. You can see that they know that what they're talking about. They can represent their work. They can represent their thoughts in a badass manner. What happens is, most of the time you're given a task, and then your boss will ask you, like there would be an internal conversation as to what is the progress, what's going on. And especially if it's an individual task, they will ask you. And no matter how hard you have worked, no matter if you know everything about your work, it's those 2 sentences that you tell your boss that will be important. I know it seems like a little bit unfair, seems more unfair if you are an introvert or if you are shy. And of course, no matter how extrovert you are, you will experience some amount of shyness in front of a superior, especially when you are starting, and that's completely okay. But still, try and hold the attention of all of the people in the office for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. You don't have to be an amazing speaker or anything, but you have to make sure, and you have to also realize that being articulate is a part of your job. Being able to participate in the conversations in a smart and sharp manner is a part of your job. I'll tell you by example. When in my first month of work, we were having really busy days, and I was late to office that day because we had been working really late last night, and I was somehow, I somehow got to the office at time. Like I had to be on like by 10 o'clock, and I was just there by 10 o'clock. And there was a meeting at 10 o'clock, and then somehow I managed to go to the cabin, and I sat down, and I was out of breath because I had been running for past 10 minutes. And my boss asked me, listen, what is your take on this? How is your work going? And even though I had been working late nights, I knew that these 2 sentences that I am going to utter about my work matter, because that also shows how confident I am about my work. So I knew that I was out of breath. So I asked if I could have a sip of water. I had a sip of water. I calmed myself down. Then I spoke for about 2 minutes, and it was all fine. And then I was appreciated for that work. Because again, going back to our first point, people form impressions even without recognizing that they are in the process of forming that impression. Now, being articulate, 2-3 things you have to understand. There has to be a structure. There has to be an end body. There has to be a starting body and end of whatever you're saying. It's okay. You don't feel, sometimes, when people speak really, really fast, or when people are nervous, they feel like they have to speak really, really fast. Otherwise, people would understand that they are shy, and they are nervous, and that they are very introverted. And then people would gauge that, and people would lose attention, and they would not listen to whatever you're saying. So you have to get your lines in very, very fast. Did you understand what I'm saying? But don't think that people are running out of time. You got it. A question has been asked to you. It's other people's job to understand what is going on because they are a part of the meeting. So that's okay. Take your time. I'm not saying speak very, very slowly like I just did, but speak in a normal speed. Take your time. You're not hogging a time. A question has been asked from you. That's okay. Don't be shy, be confident, and speak in a pitch, speak at a speed, and speak at a volume that's comfortable for everyone to listen. And even if somebody interjects, even if somebody asks a cross question, don't think that, listen, I have messed this up. Absolutely, you have not. People will ask questions. So just take a deep breath and focus on the content of it. You got this. If you have worked hard on it, you will be able to articulate it well. I have full faith in you. Number 5. It's going to be a controversial one, I know, but dress appropriately. Now, I am not saying that you shouldn't wear short skirts and there has to be a dress code. I am not a person like that. I am not going to go full on patriarchal over you. That's not the intent of it. I am saying you have to dress for the job. I am a female, I'm a cisgender female, and I like to, wear Indian clothes, and I also like to wear Western clothes. But I had to be very careful, and I had to understand and look around the people who were dressing as to what kind of colors I can wear to the office, how I should dress to the office. And it's not just your clothes. You have to make sure that your hair is fine. Not like I'm not saying that you have to have a very expensive hairdo or very expensive haircut. Just a hairdo that's simple but also elegant. That gives an impression that you are put together. The only thing that you have to look in your corporate culture in your office is put together, no matter what you're wearing. You have to make sure that a color is not too loud. You have to make sure that you are not going over there with something unconventional. Now, it could be different from office to office, but especially when it comes to lawyers, decorum is very important. And I understand we all are working in our pajamas right now. I'm in my pajamas right now. I'm in a black and orange colored pajamas, and that's a completely different story. But when we eventually start going to office, or when we meet someone in a professional capacity, and when we meet them in person, we have to make sure that our clothes are ironed. We have to make sure that we look prim and proper. Our hair is fine. It's not too unconventional. It's put together. Even if you are putting makeup, you have to make sure that your makeup is subtle. And I know there have been thoughts on this, but especially as a lawyer, do not wear like a loud purple lipstick or anything to office, because you have to do the job. Especially when you're in corporate culture, it's not your face or it's not your clothes that's making you money. They have to be prim and proper, and that's about it. And then your work will speak. But the only criteria for your work, for your clothing, for your looks, and your physical appearance is to be just fine. That's all. And yes, I understand fashion is a hobby. I like fashion myself. You can still indulge in fashion every now and then. You can wear really dainty, pretty jewelry. You can experiment in your perfumes or anything, but nothing too loud. Nothing, anything that's jarring that would take attention away from what you're speaking, take attention away from what your work is. Now, I am not here to define fashion standards for you. I am not here to tell you that, listen, these are the clothes that you need to wear. It's just that you get the point. You have to be somewhere in between, and you have to put a thought into what you're wearing. And there are other things also. Do not smell in the workplace. I think this is something that I shouldn't say. But more than your clothes, there are other few extrinsic things that matter in the workplace. Like your body odor shouldn't be there. You shouldn't have a bad breath. You shouldn't have lipstick on your teeth. You shouldn't have anything stuck in your hair. You shouldn't look like someone who has just woken up and come here. Whenever somebody looks at you, you should look put together and like you have put a little bit thought. And you can do it if you choose your outfits over the weekend. And yeah, you can have some staple pieces. Like for example, I had one pair of earrings that were very beautiful. They were diamond earrings, and there was one golden watch that I had. It's a beautiful Titan watch, and I wore that every single day for my workplace whenever I used to go to my workplace for those 8-9 months. And it was fine because those two things went with every single outfit I wore. Now, it could be different for you. Maybe you don't like wearing earrings or watch, and that's completely okay. But all I'm saying that you can invest in some staple pieces that will go with everything that you intend to wear, and that's okay. So dress for the job, dress just fine, dress appropriately, dress like you have put a little bit of thought even when you have not put any thought. So yeah, these were 5 few things that we tend to ignore and we don't give so much importance, but actually are very important in corporate culture. I hope you are able to cast a good impression. I hope you are able to work well, and I hope you don't get bogged down from your work product. That actually does matter. It does matter what you submit. It does matter what's in your mind. But what actually really also matters is your work ethic. And I think these 5 things are very cardinal pillars of what your work ethic is expected to look like. Now, I will go and I will see you guys in my next one. But before going, I will give you one small tip. When you're doing Zoom call, and when you're doing Zoom call on your phone, make sure that your phone is on few books, or your laptop is on few books, so that you don't look really so that your like background gets eliminated. Make sure that the light is coming from your front and not from your back. And yeah, when you put that laptop on few books, your double chin also gets eliminated. How do I know that? I don't know. I don't have a double chin. At least in Zoom calls, I don't. I'm going to leave you guys now. I don't know what's happening to me. I'll go and have my dinner. It's Saturday night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.